We are ringing in the new year with the NFL playoffs. That's right. This weekend marked Wild Card Weekend in the NFL, and let me tell you, wild was an understatement. Welcome back to Penn State Sport Night. I'm Cailey Thalman alongside Michael Landis and Ashley Mascaro, and we're here to break down the start of the NFL playoffs. The Houston Texans, led by rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud, defended their home turf with a dominant 45-14 victory. The Philadelphia Eagles made an embarrassing exit at the hands of Baker Mayfield and the Bucs after starting the season 10-1. Fans at Ford Field sent Matt Stafford packing as the Lions earned their first playoff victory in 32 years. The Bills and Chiefs handled business, setting up yet another Josh Allen-Patrick Mahomes face-off. And what on earth happened to the Dallas Cowboys? Now, just 8 teams remain in the battle to the Super Bowl. Who will be crowned champion of the NFL in just a few weeks? Let's get into it. Ashley, I don't know if there's one team that you could say shocked you the most in this opening round of Wild Card Weekend, but I'm going to ask you, what result here shocked you the most?
Well, Cailey, personally, I was really surprised by the Miami Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs game. And I think, just in general, this game was probably the one that got the most views because even those non-football fans went crazy over because it was Alex Earl's boyfriend versus Taylor Swift's boyfriend. So I think fans in general expected this to be a really close game. And it wasn't. It was a 26-7 final score. And personally, I thought Tua Tagovailoa would have had a much better game. He threw for less than 200 yards, and 53 of those yards was on one pass to Tyreek Hill, which led to a touchdown. And that was their only points of the entire game. I think it's pretty sad, and especially with Tyreek Hill coming back to his previous home turf, you would think that it would just be a little better. Now, I'm wondering if the weather played a factor into this because it was one of the coldest games in NFL history, or if they just weren't on their A game. Now, on the Chiefs side, though, Rashee Rice has played incredible. He had a touchdown. He had over 100 yards. And Travis Kelce has not been playing as well. So I think for him coming to probably retire within the next couple years, they have a good receiver game ready to be coming in. But overall, I was really disappointed about the Dolphins. They were missing 6 of their starters, so I think that ended up playing a factor in this. But I expected it to be a lot closer of a score, and I bet Mike McDaniel and the crew were definitely frustrated to end on this note for their season.
Yeah, actually, I mean, obviously the Dolphins had a very disappointing end to their season, but I want to swing it over to another team that also had a disappointing end, and that was the Cleveland Browns. I was most surprised by the Houston Texans, who came into this game after last year being 3-13-1, having the second overall pick of the draft, and they picked C.J. Stroud, the young stud, who, if he didn't get injured, he probably would have been in the MVP conversation this year. He was legitimately that good. He is most likely going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Sorry, Puka Nacua. I mean, you did break a lot of records, too. But C.J. Stroud just was that guy for the Texans. He brought a spark to them, some culture, something that Houston fans had been missing for so long. I really think since those Deshaun Watson days where they were last to the playoffs, 4 years ago, they haven't really had much of that. And coming into this game, I was pleasantly surprised by the Texans. I didn't think that they were going to put up as much of a fight against the Browns as they did. Not only did they put up a fight, they destroyed them. Their offense looked unstoppable. And Stroud he doesn't have incredible weapons around him. He's got very young guys who have a lot of great potential. But these aren't crazy named guys. Nico Collins just came out of nowhere this year, put up a big stat line, 6 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown this weekend. He played phenomenal. He's been doing it all year. But also, it's just other guys picking it up. John Mechie has finally started to get a chance. He was coming back from those injuries a couple years ago. Dalton Schultz getting involved, Brevin Jordan. All these guys are coming around and helping Stroud. And Stroud obviously just went crazy, 16 of 21, 274 yards, and 3 touchdowns. They played amazing on offense. I was expecting that. What I didn't expect was their defense to lock in so much. From the second quarter, after the Browns scored their touchdown with 12 minutes left, they did not score another point the entire game. They got 2 pick sixes on back-to-back drives off Joe Flacco. It was just crazy to see. And for the Browns, a little disappointing end to the season, but a lot of people could see it coming. Joe Flacco gave them a spark to their offense, but you saw that his turnovers were a problem, and in this game they truly showed. But the defense kind of just crumbled apart as C.J. Stroud picked them apart. So very surprised with them this weekend.
Look, Michael, I'm going to agree with you. CJ Stroud put on an absolute show in Houston, Texas. A team that did not put on a show was the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, look, okay, I was not expecting the Philadelphia Eagles to come in and win the Super Bowl after their embarrassing crash and burn to end the season. But a team that starts 10-1 is expected to maybe come in and win the wild card round, and they absolutely did not do that. I don't know what was wrong with Jalen Hurts. I don't know if you saw on some of the replays afterwards, there were arguments happening on the sideline mid-game. There was no cohesion going on that squad. Sirianni looked upset. Nothing was going right for them, and now Jason Kelsey's retiring. I don't know. The Philadelphia Eagles are in a really rough spot, and if you had told me that that was going to be the case and they would leave with that embarrassing exit when they were 10-1 earlier in the season, I would have called you crazy. And Baker Mayfield, he's been a little bit shaky all season, but he did not look shaky on Monday night. He threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, which was a great performance for him. So I'm very happy for the Bucs and very disappointed for Philadelphia Eagles fans. Now, Michael, I'm going to head back to you on this one. Who impressed you? There were a lot of teams that shocked us a little bit, but who came in and really impressed you?
Yeah, I mean, the team, Cailey, that impressed me the most was actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I know you were just talking about the Eagles and how they didn't really live up to those expectations. Baker Mayfield showed that there was no Brady, no problem. I mean, he came into this season, nobody expected really anything of them. A lot of people projected the Buccaneers to be a bottom 10 team, maybe have like 4 or 5 wins this season. But what he was able to do with this roster, to come in here, not only have the same record as Tom Brady last season, but actually win a playoff game, it's nuts. I mean, Baker Mayfield is actually in contention for Comeback Player of the Year this season. He's had a phenomenal year. He's had 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, over 4,000 yards passing. The guy can really do it all, and I give him a lot of credit because there was a lot of the fan base that didn't really believe in him. We saw what happened last year. The Panthers didn't believe in him. They cut him. The Rams let him go. And then, the Buccaneers give him a small little contract. Let's see what he can do with it. And now he brings them into a playoffs and gives them the best chance that they've had in a long time. But it's not just him. It's the guys that are stepping up too. Not just Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who have been amazing as they've always been, but Kate Otten, who has stepped up 8 catches, 89 yards. It's guys like that you need to kind of step up and make big plays for your team. Because if you're not able to do that, you're not really going to be able to move far. But that defense has stepped up extraordinarily. I mean, you look at that defense, stopping the Eagles' tush push, which nobody had really ever seen before. I was highly impressed. So I think for them moving forward, I think they have a legitimate shot at making some noise, but they're my most impressive team.
Yeah, Michael, I'm really impressed with the Buccaneers as well. I'm super happy for Baker Mayfield. He deserves it, of course, after the rough year that he's had. And the Bucs in general just played really well. But I'm going to go over to the AFC. I am really, really impressed with the Buffalo Bills. They had a rough start. And I think if you went back like middle of October, beginning of November, you would say the Bills are out of playoff contention. They were 6-6. There was no way they were going to come back. They have not lost a game since then. Their record was 11-6, at the end of the season, and they have just been playing phenomenal. I'm super impressed with Josh Allen. The thing that stood out to me from the game the other day was they had on the 4th and 1. Cam Hayward on the Steelers defense prevented Josh Allen from getting over, and they gave Josh Allen a second tush push on 4th and 1, and they were able to get it, and that almost secured the win for them. They defeated them 31-17. It wasn't even close. They have just been playing really, really well, and they really turned their season around. So I'm super happy for the Bills, and I can't wait to see what they do next. I think they have a long rest of the playoff road ahead of them.
Yeah, actually, the Bills put up a really solid performance on Monday afternoon, as I think many were expecting against the Steelers. But like you said, when they were 6-6, a lot of people did not expect them to be in the position they're in now. And the team that surprised me was the Packers. Look, I think the Packers were kind of riding a bit of a high when they came into the playoffs and into the wild card round. But the Cowboys aren't a team to mess around with. That being said, they completely shut down Dak Prescott. Jordan Love looked really confident, and Romeo Doubs had over 150 receiving yards. Their receiver core looks really good right now. I don't know if it'll be enough to take them to that championship round, but I do think that they really impressed me in the wild card round. Now, Ashley, I'm going to go back to you on this one. We've got a big weekend coming up, 8 teams remaining. What are your predictions?
Well, Cailey, I'll make this quick because I don't think there's not much explanation needed. I think the Texans are going to pull up a upset over the Ravens. I think the 49ers are going to dominate the Packers. The Bills will pull another victory against the Chiefs, especially being on home turf. And Baker Mayfield and the Bucs will continue their win streak and defeat Jared Goff and the Lions in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I have a very similar palette to you. Everything is pretty much the same except for the Ravens. I have them being the Texans. Everybody else, I have it kind of Josh Allen getting that first career playoff win over Patrick Mahomes, AFC matchup between the Ravens and Bills. Then the NFC is pretty much the same thing. Brock Purdy's going to lead the 49ers all the way. And then the upset of Baker Mayfield, who let him cook more.
I think the Ravens and the Niners are going to get exactly where they are predicted to get as Super Bowl favorites. I actually am going to take the Lions on this one. I think they want it more. I think Detroit is ready to finally have some playoff success. And, of course, I am going to take the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is finally going to get his playoff win over Patrick Mahomes. But I'm super excited to see how it turns out. You'll have to check back for updated coverage of the NFL playoffs in the race to the Super Bowl. Will the favorites win the Super Bowl, or will a first-timer come home victorious? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For Ashley Mascaro and Michael Landis, I'm Cailey Thalman. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.